This week we're looking at car maintenance products. Not as crazy as it might seem. Now, a couple of weeks ago I started doing some jobs on the car. Nothing major, I was just catching up on bits and pieces that had been neglected. And I suddenly realised just how much of my toolkit had actually migrated from my toolbox into the porter cabin where I do most of my model making. And that gave me a thought really about how much I use them in model making, and I thought it might be interesting to share some of those products with you. I'll show you how I use them and where I think they might be able to help you as well. None of the things that you're going to see in this video have been paid for by anybody but me. There's no promotion involved here. So let's start having a look. Product 1, primer. I'm a great believer in using primer on your surfaces and your models before you apply the final top coat and colour. And it doesn't matter what your product is made of, be it wood, cardboard, plastic or metal. Using primer is a great way to achieve a really good finish. Product 2, electrical contact cleaner. This is a dedicated spray designed to clean electrical contacts and switches. Now I do use it for that, but I also use it for things like cleaning down locomotive bodies and chassis as well, and I find it particularly useful. The great characteristics of this product are that it normally comes out of the can pretty fast, which gives the cleaning some momentum and energy, and more importantly it evaporates. So let's have a look and see how it's used. A couple of weeks ago I made a very short video about cleaning an 060 tanker, locomotive tanker body, and that's the one you can see here. If you saw that video you'll remember it. But this is the chassis that goes with it, and it's coming for some work. It's not running particularly well, so we'll give it a blast with the contact spray cleaner and see how much dirt we can get out of this thing. Now, purely for the purposes of testing, I've got this chassis sitting now on a little bit of tissue paper, and that's really just so that the camera will pick up what comes out of the chassis once we give it a spray. It's not actually necessary when you do it at home. You just give it a spray down. You can do it outside, it's fine, anywhere will do. But let's just have a look and see what we can get out. So we'll start at the top. Don't worry about the overspray, because as I said, this does evaporate. So we'll just see what goes on here. Big bit of debris flew out there. I don't know if the camera picked that up. So let's give the other side a spray now. There is a lot of debris flying off of this chassis. So it looks pretty horrendous. On camera I realise that, but it's the only way really I can demonstrate this and film it and illustrate it to you. So let's remove the locomotive and see what's sort of underneath, and there you go. I think that speaks for itself really. Couple of basic applications. I will give this locomotive chassis 2 or 3 more treatments of this before I start doing any other work on it. Okay, next up we've got my tamper-proof screwdriver set, screw set, whatever you want to call it. And this is something, again, I use it a lot, and not always necessarily for the purposes for which it was designed, but it if you have a look there you see some basic screw heads that we're all familiar with, Phillips, Posi drive, etc. And then on this side we've got a whole range of different screw heads built onto these pieces, and it allows us to get into things that the manufacturers would probably rather that we didn't get into, because once we can get into them we can of course repair them, improve them, upgrade them, and keep our models going for a whole lot longer. Nice little set. What does it cost? Well, here in the UK, around £10 sterling. There you go. Hot tip that. Make a note of it. Okay, this is something that I'm sure you may have seen on other channels and you're thinking, I really ought to go and buy some. Well, yes, you should. Uh, Shrink tubing. This is an assorted box of different sizes. Let's open it up and have a look inside. Now, I think it's reasonable to say that for model making, you're not going to use the three sizes that you can see on the far right hand side of the screen now. But over on the left hand side, the first three there, those you would use. Partly because I'm the age and generation that I am, and partly because of my father's sort of occupation, I can't get away from the basic good solid engineering principles that have kept the world going for last however many years. And there are lots of ways you can join a couple of lumps of wire together, but I like soldering. And when you do solder, it's good to employ heat shrink tubing rather than PVC tape to cover up the join. You do need to remember to insert your wiring into one end of the sleeve prior to the join, and then once the join is complete, bring your heat shrink over the join, apply a little bit of heat from the soldering iron, and it shrinks to size and provides a well insulated join, and a join that is strong and will last, provided of course you've done your soldering properly. If you don't know how to do that, there's plenty of channels that will show you. If you want a way to find out whether or not you've got a live connection and you're a little bit daunted by multimeters, which I fully understand, then this might be the answer. It's a test lamp, and again it's really designed for automotive use, but let's have a look and I'll show you how it works. So we'll test this on my test track. You've all seen it before. Full scenery applied at one end, and it gradually fades out to no scenery at all, and that's partly for demonstration purposes, but there we are. And you can also see there's two different gauges on here. N gauge nearest the camera, double O gauge further away. The power supply is coming from my vintage H&M Duet. I'm very lucky. I've got three of these and a couple of extra plug-in boxes as well. Beautiful technology, keeps going and going. So let's hook up the test lamp and apply some power. So we've got the crocodile clip attached to one of the rails. It doesn't matter which one because the test lamp is not polarity sensitive. Next we'll introduce some power by turning on our H&M, and now we can use the test lamp to see where the power is and where there's a good connection. So let's just test it on a couple of rails. Nothing happening there, nothing happening there, wouldn't expect it to be. Let's put it on this rail and the test lamp lights up. Remove, replace, just to double check, and there we are. So that tells us that we've got a live connection on this piece of track. Of course, what it doesn't tell us is the voltage, and that's where you really do need to use a multimeter. Multimeters do tend to come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. This is my one. It's a sort of middle of the road one really. But again, here in the UK, you can certainly pick them up from your local automotive store for around £10 or less. They do give you a few advantages over the test lamp that I just showed you. You can get very accurate readings of voltage and measure resistance, and this particular one even comes with a temperature probe as well. But as I say, they can be daunting. There's a lot of dials, a lot of switches, and we're not here for an electronics channel. We're here for scale model making. But it is worth investing in a budget one for those sort of basic electrical jobs. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've covered a range of products. As I say, it's all been purchased by me at full retail cost. no promotions involved. Before I go, I would like to give a shout out. I don't do many, but I'm going to do one now. When you have time, I'd like you to go and visit Hemmel-Down Model Railway. Our good friend Mark, he's recently moved to a new place and is building a new model railway layout, and it's all being documented on YouTube. Please go along, have a look, give him a thumbs up for a few of his videos, and hopefully, if you feel you can, subscribe as well. I'm sure he'd appreciate the support. That's it for this one. Take care, ladies and gents. See you next time on St. Blazey Model World. Bye for now.